Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare बोलिए बोलिए Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामने गौरत्वसे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये. Hare Krishna. Once again we welcome all of you to our Bhakti Vaibhav course, and we're extremely grateful and thankful to you. Can we have a quick recap from yesterday's discussions, please? Okay, Bhakti Vaibhav.
Hare Krishna. So yesterday we discussed the first shloka. So in the first shloka, basically first three shlokas are the prelude to Srimad Bhagavatam, and the first shloka, as we refer to the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, where Lord Chaitanya is explaining this verse to Sanatana Goswami. So there, how the three things, the Swarup Lakshan and Tatastha Lakshan, are described.
Right. So what is the Swarup and Tatastha Lakshan? Somebody else can say. Somebody else? Yes, Pitamachat.
Lakshan is Akrati, Prakriti and Swarupa, and that is a primary Lakshan, that is never change.
Yes.
And Tatastha Lakshan is like activity, Leela.
Yes, referred as activities. Yes, good. Okay, what else did we discuss?
Type of the Mangala Charana is 3 types.
Okay, Mangala Charan is, we discussed is
Objectives and Asirvad and this Namaskar.
And what?
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Okay, yes. Okay, so what else? What else we discussed? In 2 hours, nothing was discussed. Yes?
Norms of the class, and also I mean, we had a Prabhupada quotes why we should follow the norms, and you were telling that obedience is the first law for discipline is the first law of obedience.
Okay, good. At least somebody remembers. Okay, what else? Mitra Krish.
How Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from the whole verse, dividing it in 4 parts.
Yes, and we came up with many references from different sources to establish Krishna as the Supreme Absolute Truth. Maybe 1 or 2 more points? Yes, Sudhus. Okay, we discussed various aspects of that. And how did we conclude the class? What was the last point we discussed? Okay, Kanakishwar. Given impetus. Yes, that's right. So there is original spiritual sex life in the spiritual world, but in the material world everything is perverted. So there are basically two reasons why the impersonalists give impetus to the material sex life. One is because of having rejected personality, they cannot experience a higher taste because of not having relationship with the Supreme Lord. The second point, which is more in connection to Mayavadis, is because Mayavadis ultimately think that they also become the supreme, so therefore they are also God. So God doesn't need to follow any laws. So then full-scale sense gratification is totally permitted because no rules for God. So that's the other reason how the Mayavadis, they take to material sense gratification. Yes. Yes. Therefore, it's something which is unnatural. Therefore, they cannot experience any pleasure. No ananda. The ananda aspect is missing. And that's the reason why the path is klesho adhikadarastesham, full of so many troubles. And so therefore, they come down to at least some material pleasure, material sense pleasure, which of course is no pleasure at all. Okay. Let's once again recite the first verse before we proceed ahead with further discussions. Okay, let's recite together. Om. Translation, please.
O my Lord Sri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primal cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations. And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the greatest sages and demigods are placed into illusion. As one is bewildered by the illusory representation of water seen in fire or land seen on water, only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally exists in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
Okay. We'll just go through some of the important aspects of this verse. Yesterday, towards the end of our discussions, we quoted a lecture from Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada is saying, referring to the first part, Om Namaha, Namaha, offering obeisances. So here Vyasadeva is offering obeisances to the Supreme Absolute Truth. If we don't offer obeisances to the Supreme Lords, then we will have to offer obeisances to the material energy, which is manifested in terms of the material elements, earth, water, fire, air. You can turn them into bricks and a skyscraper and then offer obeisances to the skyscraper or offer obeisances to a dead man in the British Museum. So offering of obeisances is a must. Whom to offer obeisances to? Vyasadeva is telling Vasudevaya, the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Very specific. And I think so we saw a quote where, or we have not yet seen, I don't know, but we can go through it again. So where Prabhupada is saying that yes, we are presenting the absolute truth very specifically. We know his name, we know his address, we know everything about him. We know his father and mother, everything is very clear. So therefore, it is not to some vague, impersonal entity that we are offering obeisances to, but we are offering obeisances to a definitive person who we know very well. Yes, please read.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vyasdev is explaining what is Krishna. First of all, let us understand what is Krishna, and then we enter into the other information of Krishna. So, our Krishna consciousness movement is against all this rascaldom. We present, here is God, take his name, take his address also. This is also, it is so perfect. They are searching after God, we are giving the name, address, activity, everything, quality.
Yes, so everything is very clear. We are not vague about who is God, who is the absolute truth. He is Vasudev, the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, and that's very clear. And so by this we are also defeating impersonalism, the impersonalist idea that yes, the supreme absolute truth is something which is impersonal. No, he is not impersonal, he is a person. Now Srila Prabhupada goes on to explain the word Vasudev. The word Vasudev also means one who is everywhere. That is also the other meaning of Vasudev. But yet we have to understand that this understanding of Vasudev being everywhere is not like the impersonalistic understanding. So the impersonalists, they also accept that the absolute truth is everywhere. But their understanding is that because the absolute truth is everywhere, therefore he cannot be a person at one place. But our understanding is no, he is situated at one place, Goloka eva nivasati akilatma bhutho. So he is situated at Golok, yet he is also situated everywhere. Akhilatma, he is everywhere. Now the analogy which the impersonalists give is, you take a piece of paper and you tear it into small pieces and you throw it. You throw all the pieces, then where is the original paper? It's gone. So similarly, if the absolute truth is spread everywhere, then how can he be localized person? How do you refute this? Yes, bro. No. How do we refute this analogy which they use of the paper? We are not asking for substitute analogies. Yes, we can use substitute analogies to prove our point. But how do you refute this Mayavad analogy? Okay, Padamji? Yes. Yes. Right. For an analogy to be valid, there must first of all be some points of similarity. And then we can compare. But then it is not possible to compare an insentient, insignificant, small piece of paper to the sentient absolute truths. So therefore, the analogy is invalid and illogical. As far as we are concerned, the supreme absolute truth has achintya shakti, and therefore for him it is possible to be localized at one place and yet be spread everywhere. That is the meaning of Vasudev, who is spread everywhere. Commenting on this Vasudev aspects.
God, by his inner expansion, he is situated everywhere. Therefore his name is Vasudev. Now Vasudev is the origin of everything. So that is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, Vasudev Sarvam Iti Samhatma Sudurlabha. Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Anyone who has understood that everything, whatever we see, that is Vasudev. But we should always remember that Vasudev is everything. Still, everything is not Vasudeva. Just like in a big factory, in your country or in America, that Ford, Mr. Ford, he has got very big factory. So, in the factory, everywhere the Mr. Ford is there. But if you have to see Mr. Ford, you cannot see the car Ford, and you became satisfied. The car is also written there, Ford. So if I want to see Mr. Ford, and if we see the car, and we say, now I have met with Mr. Ford, that is foolishness. I have met with Mr.
The car
is Ford, but Ford is not the car.
So this is how Srila Prabhupada is refuting Mayavad here. So the Mayavadis say that yes, God is spread everywhere and everything is God's. Srila Prabhupada quotes a famous Mayavad sannyasi who said that why are you searching for God in the temple? God is on the streets. The dog is God and everyone is God. So that's the Mayavad understanding. And therefore, all the conceptions of Daridra Narayan and all these conceptions are basically Mayavad conceptions. And so therefore, yes, we accept God is everywhere, but at the same time, it does not mean that everything is God and worshipable. Srila Prabhupada gives another example. He says, just like the microphone is made up of material elements, which are also the energy of the Supreme Lord. Verse? Yes. So, yes, it is also the energy of the Lord, but still we don't worship the microphone. So therefore, this is an important point to understand that, yes, even though everything is related to God, this is the concept of the Shakti and the Shaktiman. So Shakti, Shaktiman, Abedhyo. Non-difference between the Shakti and Shaktiman, but yet Shakti is not equal to Shaktiman. What is the other famous analogy Prabhupada gave to prove this point? No difference between Shakti and Shaktiman. Yes, Alakshan. Yes, sun and sunlight. Can you please explain a little more? Yes. Yes. So how do we prove that sunlight is as good as the sun? How do we prove that sunlight, the Shakti, is as good as the Shaktiman? Amshapru? Correct.
Sunlight is also characterized by same heat and light.
Okay.
So quality it is there.
Correct. How would you practically prove that sunlight is as powerful as the sun? Raghu?
When sunshine is there in the room, then one may say that sun has come. But it doesn't mean that sun has come. But
my question is, how do we practically prove that sunlight is as powerful as the sun? Bhakti Vaibhav?
If we use a lens and then if we focus on sunlight, so it will burn the paper.
Yes, that's the point. These are all Prabhupada's analogies, very logical. And therefore we have to hear Prabhupada's lectures regularly. The more we hear, then the more we will remember these very practical, down-to-earth analogies that Srila Prabhupada gives to explain these very sublime concepts. So yes, that's how we practically prove. Prabhupada says, in your childhood you must have definitely done this. So take a convex lens and focus the sunlight, and if you place a piece of paper, it burns, actually burns. That means the sunlight is as powerful as the sun. But at the same time, we say sunlight has entered into the room. If the sun were to actually enter, nobody will be there to see the sun. So therefore, yes, sunlight is as powerful as the sun, but still there is a difference. So yes, Shakti, Shaktiman, Abhedyor, there is no difference between Shakti and Shaktiman, but at the same time there is a difference, and that is Achintya Abheda Tattva. That is the understanding of Vasudev. Who is Vasudev? And he is Janmadyasya Yataha. He is the cause of creation, maintenance, destruction. Speaking on this, Prabhupada says, who has a question? Yes, another.
In one of the lecture,
Yes.
Prabhupada was saying that Lord is there in every atom.
Correct.
And in the space between the atoms.
Correct.
So it is like the question is that whether he is there personally or his energies, because there are always like the questions asked that whether he is there personally or the energies are there. So how we can answer?
Okay, somebody would like to answer that question? Wait. Somebody else? It would be highly appreciated if everyone kindly participates. Doesn't matter if something is wrong or something like that, but yes, Prabhu, please pass the mic here. Jaldi pass karo. Yeah, aage.
It talks about the Paramatma feature of the Lord.
So the personal aspects,
Yes.
the Paramatma feature. Okay, fine. That's okay. Somebody else? Yes, somebody else? Yes, Prabhu.
Lord Vishnu remains in each atom and living entity also. That's why in every, suppose my leg touch somebody else, we just tell Vishnu only. We does not tell other demigods' names. It is the general customs in Odisha, Bengal and everywhere. In general, dead object also.
Okay, interesting points.
I am telling in a general custom, suppose my leg touch to this dead object also, we touch and we tell Vishnu. Because Vishnu is present in that one. And in
Vishnu
all
is present in the person, that's correct. Super soul is present, we offer obeisances to the super soul. Okay, go ahead.
Similar question was asked to Prabhupada.
Mm.
So Prabhupada gave the example that when the devotee asked this question, like how to understand Krishna is he personally present? Like here, the building is there, then there is the park, there is a pole. So here is his hands, legs. Like that, Prabhupada told no. You see these specs. So when you the specs, so you see my specs, then you understand that you remember me.
Correct.
So same way, Krishna is present everywhere through his energies, and same in Bhagavad Gita that's Aham Sarvasya Prabhu Matta Sarvam Prabhavati. So Krishna is present everywhere through his energies, but in his personal form, there is Goloka University.
Krishna is present everywhere. Maya tadam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina matsthani sarvabhutani na chaham tesha avastitaha. So Krishna is saying, I am present throughout, everywhere. Maya tadam idam sarvam. Everywhere I am present. How? Jagat avyakta murtina. Very interesting concept. Avyakta murtina. He is avyakta, but still there is a form. And what is that avyakta murtina by which he pervades the entire universe? What is that called? 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 What is the form in which he pervades the entire universe? The universal form. The Virat Roop. That is a form by which he pervades the entire universe. So that's what he shows to Arjuna. And that is what the impersonalists, therefore, they are advised to accept that universal form. Even if you want to think that the Supreme Absolute Truth is all pervading, still you accept he is a form. There is a form. Of course, we'll discuss in more details in the second canto about the universal form. But the point is that yes, he is pervading the entire universe through his different energies. But even though he's pervading everywhere through his energies, just like he gave the example, Prabhupada's example. Prabhupada gives the example of the spectacles. Prabhupada also gives the example of the mother who sees the child's shoes. So she sees the child's shoes and immediately she is reminded of the child's. Third example, Prabhupada gives his own example. He says, my voice, the recorded voice. The voice is like the energy. But when you listen to the voice, what do we say? Prabhupada is speaking. Is Prabhupada actually there? No, he's not there. But still we say Prabhupada is there. Why? No difference between energy and energetic. And why? By seeing the energies, by hearing the energies, why one is able to remember the person? Say that again? Exactly. Out of love. Similarly, and that is precisely what the third verse of the Chatushloki Bhagavad describes. The third verse of the Chatushloki Bhagavad describes this fact of how the Lord has entered into all the elements. He has entered everything. But who can perceive it? That is the greatest mystery which is hidden within the Chatushloki Bhagavad. The mystery of pure love, Krishna Prem. Because only when there is that Prem, even though one sees energies everywhere, but one who has the eyes of Prem, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. One who has the eyes anointed with the salve of love, even though he's simply perceiving energies, doesn't simply see the energies, but sees the energetic behind the energies because of that prema. Sthavar jangam deki na deki taramurti sarvatra hoy nija ishta deva sfurti. So even though he's seeing moving and non-moving objects, but he doesn't see the objects, but he sees the object of his love, his Ishtadev. And that is the mysterious aspect of prema that is explained in the Chatushloki Bhagavat. I'll add one more dimension to that. Srila Prabhupada explains that yes, because taking the concept of no difference between Shakti and Shaktiman, we could say very confidently that Krishna is actually present within every atom. Very personally, he is present. And we could establish this. Andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhaja. He is present, paramanu. Paramanu means what? Atom. He is present within the atom. Lord Brahma is saying, Govinda is present within the atom. And Srila Prabhupada explains, yes, Krishna is present. And whether you say the energy is there, whether you say energetic is there, it's non-different. But in any case, we could say Krishna is present, and the characteristics of every substance are because Krishna is present in every substance. Now, most of you are engineers here, and you all have studied chemistry, right? Yes or no? Yes. And in chemistry you have studied what is called as, what is that, periodic table? Yes, Mendeleev's periodic table. You remember some few decades back you have studied? And I'm sure we all had a tough time trying to memorize all those elements and their characteristics and properties. We have done that, right? And we could have memorized all that, but nobody asked why every substance has those peculiar characteristics. Why? Because Krishna is present. Because Krishna is present, therefore every substance has those peculiar characteristics. And Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. Where? Where? Okay, we could accept this verse, Yad Yad Vibhuti Mat Sattvam. What is the example that Krishna himself gives to establish this fact that he has entered into every substance to give the most important characteristic of that substance? Yes, Rasoham Apsu Kaunteya. He has entered into water to create the most essential characteristic of water, and that is taste. And Krishna is saying, I am the taste. Extending that point, extending that same principle, Krishna has entered into every element, every object to create the peculiar characteristics of that substance. And then Prabhupada gives the example. He says, just like potassium cyanide. Nobody knows the taste of potassium cyanide, because the moment he puts even a drop on his tongue, he won't live to tell the taste. Right. Okay, does that help?
Yeah, so, in essence, it is like the Brahman aspect is there. And the Brahman aspect is the part of like the whole absolute truth.
Yes.
That we can conclude with that.
Of course.
Like the Lord is there with his energies. Like, and it is like the
when we
Brahman
speak of the impersonal Brahman is an aspect of the absolute truth, and of course we could say that the impersonal Brahman is the source of all energies, but still there are energies and there is the energetic. When we speak of the impersonal Brahman is the effulgence emanating from the body of the Supreme Lord, and so therefore it is an aspect of the Supreme Lord. We cannot call that Brahman as energies. The Brahman, we could say, is the cause of energies, is the cause of the material universes, but is not exactly energy. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabite. All three are the aspects of the absolute truth, and they are non-different. Advayam, the three are non-different. They are all aspects of the absolute truth. They are all aspects of Shaktiman. But then we speak of the Shaktis, which are emanating from the Shaktiman. Alright? Okay, fine. So now, coming to Janmadhyasya Yataha. Okay. Somebody read this, please.
Janmadhyasya Yataha. That is the first Vedanta Sutra. Srimad Bhagavatam is a natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra philosophy was expounded by Vasudev Mahamuni. And thinking that in future so many fools and rascals will misuse the Vedanta Sutra as so-called Vedantists and send all people to hell, therefore, he personally wrote this commentary on Vedanta Sutra, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhashyam Brahma Sutranam Vedartha Paribhramitaha. This is a Bhashya. Bhashya means commentary. Therefore, he begins from the first aphorism of Vedanta Sutra, Janmadhyasya Yataha.
Okay, yes, so natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, therefore Janmadhyasya Yataha, he's beginning with that. He is the source, he is the source of everything. Everything means everything. He is the source of the impersonal Brahman. So the impersonalists are talking about the impersonal Brahman being absolute, but from where has the impersonal Brahman come? The impersonal Brahman has also come from Krishna, Janmadhyasya Yataha. And so all the various incarnations, which are like unlimited waves of the river, they are also coming from Krishna. In the 10th chapter of the Gita, verses 4 and 5, Krishna explains how everything, good and bad, good qualities, bad qualities, everything comes from him. And so therefore, anything that exists in creation is ultimately coming from Krishna. Nothing can be separated from Krishna. And even though everything is coming from Krishna, but still he remains the same supreme, absolute, complete. How do you prove that? What's the reference? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. So the supreme absolute truth is perfect and complete, and all the units that come from him are also perfect and complete. And even though so many complete units come from the supreme complete, he still remains the supreme complete. Therefore, there cannot be any incompleteness in the Lord's creation. Please give a few examples to prove this. There cannot be any incompleteness in the Lord's creation. Mother,
whatever is required generated here only.
okay, yes, okay, everything is generated here, whatever is required for living beings. Gaurang Prampu? Okay, okay, correct. Okay, we take that example. Yes, the tree produced seeds. From one seed, so many trees could come. Dirshan Prabhu?
There is urge, any urge, hungry, thirsty,
urges.
and there is a resource of satisfying the urge. So water is there, food is there. Every animal and every jivatma.
Yes, so basically for the senses, right? Different senses want their different sense objects, and Krishna has provided all the sense objects. That's what you're talking, right?
Yes.
Yes, correct. Okay. Maybe one or two more examples.
One more question is there.
Wait, just complete first answer to our question, then we'll take your question.
Living entity is also complete by himself, because the complete facility is given for the small units to go back to Godhead.
Yes, to realize the supreme absolute truth. Yes, all facilities are given to him. And so therefore, within our own lives or within the creation, if we see any incompleteness, Prabhupada writes this precise, brilliant statement. All forms of incompleteness are due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. So if you see any forms of incompleteness in creation, if we think there is something incomplete in my life, Krishna has not given me something, something is lacking. The only reason is because I cannot see that connection with the Supreme Lord who is complete. Whatever is happening in my life, whatever is happening in others' lives, is all a perfect arrangement of the Supreme Lord. Can the Supreme Lord make mistakes? No. It's perfect. It's perfect. And we have to have faith in this fact that if I see any form of incompleteness, so sometimes we wonder why this is happening, why that is happening, and I should do something revolutionary to rectify it and whatnot. But we have to accept this fact that it is a perfect plan of the Supreme Lord. If we don't understand the reasons why, we have to accept that this is the inconceivable plan of the Lord. But it is all the perfect arrangement and the perfect plan of the Lord. And as Bhishmadev says in his prayers later on in the 9th chapter of the 1st canto, he says, even the greatest of philosophers cannot understand that plan of the Lord. But yet we accept that yes, it is a perfect plan, it is a complete arrangement. And if I don't understand, it is whose problem? It's my problem. Okay? So, therefore, janmadyasya yataha. Let's go to the next part. Anvayad itaratas arteshu abhigya swarat. Okay, please read. Wherever the mic is, please read.
Abhigya and swarat. So I am conscious to a certain extent only, not fully. I am not abhigya. I am not very expert. These are simple truths, but these rascals are claiming that I am God. God is not only conscious, he is abhigya, very expert, knows everything, and Swarat.
Continue, please.
Now I get abhigya or
to get.
And now to get abhigya or experience, we have to consult somebody. But God is Swarat. Swarat means He is personally so independent that He does not require to take knowledge from anyone else. That is God.
Prabhupada in the lecture gives the example again of the microphone. He says, if this microphone, something happens to it, I have to go to some experts. I don't know everything. So, I'm not abhigya. But Krishna, He is abhigya. He knows everything. He doesn't need to consult anyone. And so therefore, if any human being claims to be abhigya, all-knowing, then he is simply rascal, because he cannot be God. Prabhupada says, you can't even remember what you ate yesterday. Even that you can't remember, and then say avigya, all-knowing. There was one Mayavadi who came to Srila Prabhupada and claimed, he said, Swamiji, I am fearless. Prabhupada asked, oh really? He said, when you cross the road, do you see left and right? Oh, of course we see. That means you're fearful. That means you're fearful of death. So how can you claim you're fearless? Okay, now Prabhupada gives another very logical explanation to prove that how only Krishna is abhigya and swarat. This is very interesting, read. And this is the beauty of what Prabhupada has given. He brings down these very sublime and elevated truths to such simple, common, logical understanding. Please read.
Just like sometimes the atheist class of men inquire that if God is original father, supreme father of everyone, then who is God's father? The answer is that God has no father. He is self-sufficient. Therefore, this word is used, swarat. Swarat means self-sufficient. So far we are concerned, I have got my father has godfather, his father has godfather, father, go on. When you come to a person who has no more father, that is God. That is the test. If you find somebody that he has no father, then he is God. And if some rascal comes and says, I am God, then you ask him, whether you have got father? As soon as he says that, yes, I have got father, then he is dog. So in your country, so many imitation gods come. I know this. But you ask them to test him, whether you have got father. If he says, yes, I have got father, then you say you are dog. Therefore, God's another name is unborn. Anadir Adihi. Anadi means he has no source of emanation. But he is Adi. He is the original source of everything. Therefore, it is said, Anadir Adihi.
Okay, so he's Swarat. He is the only one who has no father, who is totally independent. Srila Prabhupada in 1976 was in Washington, D.C. in July, when the United States celebrates their Independence Day. And so there was going to be a grand Independence Day celebrations in Washington, the capital, and so the devotees, they invited Srila Prabhupada to just go and have a look at the celebrations. Okay, Prabhupada agreed. So the devotees went, and there was going to be, the highlight of the event was there was going to be a grand fireworks. Anyways, the whole thing was getting delayed. It never started. Srila Prabhupada said, forget it. They came back. But then the next day when Srila Prabhupada gave the Bhagavatam class, he spoke on the topic of independence. And then he said, so now they're claiming to be independent, but what sort of independence is that? Simply dog's independence. So just like the dog, he thinks I'm independent, I'm the controller of this territory, throw a stone, he goes away. So where is his independence? Other example Prabhupada gives is just like a person, a criminal is dunked within the water, few seconds he's brought out and he thinks, wow, I'm independent now. But after a few seconds, back down under the water. So that is independence in the material world. What sort of independence is there? So therefore, material life, practically no independence. But only Krishna, the supreme absolute truth, is fully independent. Everyone else is dependent upon him. Coming to the next aspect, and that is, okay, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye, so that we discussed yesterday how, so this also shows Krishna's independence, and that is how he gives knowledge to Brahma. So Brahma is also not independent. Manmohan Shamprabhu nicely quoted from the second canto of the Bhagavatam, Narad speaking to Brahma. And so, under illusion one may think so, but yes, no one else is independent except the Supreme Lord. Yes, Mother. Directly and indirectly. Okay. Okay, directly and indirectly one knows everything. Now the example which Srila Prabhupada gives in the purport is of the engineer. So the engineer directly knows every part of the construction, he directly knows. And also, he indirectly knows everything because he is managing the whole thing. He may not exactly be there on the spot to actually do the work. He's directly involved where? Where is he directly involved, the engineer? Yes, the planning, basically the planning. But even as the workers and the other people are all working, is he aware of what they're doing or no? Yes. He may not be there on the spot, but still he's aware. This is the understanding Srila Prabhupada is giving. Burijan Prabhu gives another example. He gives the example, he says that just like, he says if somebody pinches your arm, so I'm directly perceiving the pinch. This is direct perception. But I can also see the person pinching. That is indirectly I'm seeing and understanding that he's pinching. Due to whatever reason, if I don't feel the pain, but still I can see that the person is doing it. So indirectly also I understand. So these are the two examples that are given to understand the fact directly and indirectly. So Krishna, now this concept is definitely explained by Krishna himself in the 9th chapter of the Gita, 9.4 to 10, where he's speaking about his relationship with the material worlds. And there he is explaining that how, as far as the material world is concerned, this is again Achintya Bhed, Abheda relationship with the material world. He directly knows everything about the material worlds, but actually he's only indirectly involved. Right. So yes, he's in full control. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Lord. Full control. But still, he's totally aloof. What's the analogy? What's the analogy? Prabhupada gives 2-3 analogies there to explain the concept. Okay, Samarpan? Okay, close. Not the lawyer, but judge, the judge. Yes, the judge gives so many different judgments, but he is neutral. He's not bothered about it. Somebody is hanged, somebody is given some reward, but he's neutral. What's the other analogy? Okay, that comes somewhere else. Yes, but that's also correct. Huh? Okay, he gives the example of the king and the different departments. Right, that is in connection to how he's spread everywhere. And he also gives the example of how everything happens simply by his desire, just like smelling a flower. So one is not in direct touch with the flower, but from a distance one can smell. So similarly, Krishna's connection to the material world is like that. So in this way, Krishna is indirectly controlling the material world, but still he's directly involved. He's directly involved, but still it is indirect. If we cannot understand it, it is Achintya. And it's a fact, it is Achintya, because Krishna has Achintya Shakti. And therefore, only he could do this. Full control, yet fully detached. Anybody else can do that? In this world, no. If the manager of a department or the manager or the vice president of the temple thinks, let me be detached, what will happen? Huh? Yes, chaos. Chaos. So one can't be detached. But Krishna is fully detached, but fully in control. This is Achintya Shakti. And therefore he is God. And therefore no one else can be God. Is it okay, Vadrashwar? Okay. He knows indirectly because he has got so many energies. Parasya Shaktir Vivadaya Shruyate, through his different energies, he knows everything. And of course, his energies are there, but he doesn't even require the energies. He is self-sufficient. So therefore, he is capable of doing everything. Simply by his desire, everything happens. So he is sitting in Golok Vrindavan. He is simply enjoying with the gopis. So Prabhupada says, have you ever seen a photo of Krishna? He's looking a little tense. Huh? This material world is such a headache. Wow. Have you ever seen? Krishna is always smiling. He's always smiling. Even when he's killing the demons, he's smiling. That is Krishna. So directly, indirectly, everything he knows. For us, it's a little difficult to understand because we have no experience of such thing. For us to know directly itself is a big deal. What to speak of indirectly? Yes, all that, yes, demigods, energies, so many people are there. And of course, one cannot say that Krishna is dependent on them. He is, by his causeless mercy, he is engaging them in some service. He is given an opportunity for them to serve. It's not that he is dependent on them. Simply by his desire, everything happens. Okay? So, we will, as we promised a 5-minute break, so we will definitely give you a 5-minute break, but we'll just finish this verse, okay, a little bit remaining. Okay, so why does there appear to be reality in the material world? We discussed this point already yesterday about the nature of the material world and the illusion and how, though there's no reality, it appears to be illusion. The example is? Yes, we gave an example of the cinema. What is the other example? Okay, example of the dream. Other example? Prabhupada's example here? Yes, the mirage in the desert. The other example, which is also often given, is the rope and the snake. So that's the Mayavadi analogy which they use. And that is, one mistakes a rope to be the snake, but the rope is not the snake. So similarly, one is thinking the material world to be real, but it is not real. Therefore, Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya. Refute the philosophy, Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. Yes, bro.
So whatever is coming from the absolute truth should also be truth. It
Very good.
Be false.
Yes, this is the first point. Yes, whatever comes from the absolute truth should be truth. It cannot be false. Refute the analogy of the rope and the snake. Anand Gopru.
We are taking this rope as a snake, but the rope is also there and the snake is also there. We are just making it a rope as a snake.
Yes. So the rope is true, the snake is true. What is false is, yes, the wrong perception of the rope to be the snake. That is false. So similarly, material world is true, but what is false? What is false? Yes, the perception that I am the enjoyer of this material world, that is false. Okay? Okay, so this we had discussed. Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha. So the material universe is trisarga, made up of the three modes of the material nature. They appear factual, although they are unreal. Unreal, of course, means temporary. Now, Prabhupada's lecture, read.
Sri Vyasdev says herein that the manifested internal potency is real, whereas the external manifested energy in the form of material existence is only temporary and illusory.
Continue.
Like the mirage in the desert. In the desert mirage there is no actual water, there is only the appearance of water. Real water is somewhere else. The manifested cosmic creation appears as reality, but reality of which this is but a shadow is in the spiritual world. Absolute truth is in the spiritual sky, not the material sky. In the material sky, everything is a relative truth. That is to say, one truth depends on something else. In actuality, there is no reality in the manifested world. There appears to be reality. However, because of the true reality which exists in the spiritual world.
So there's appearance of water in the mirage. That means there is real water somewhere else. So similarly, it appears as if there is variety and happiness in the material worlds, but when one actually tries to go and enjoy, it's simply frustration. But it indicates that there is a world where there's true happiness, and that's the spiritual world. In the material world, everything is relative truth because everything in the material world depends on the absolute truth. It's relative, but the absolute truth is independent, doesn't depend on anything else. Therefore, that is the absolute truth. But everything in the material world is relative truths. Once the Birla family had invited Srila Prabhupada for a talk at their place. The day before, the morning of the program, the servant, Srila Prabhupada's servant, called up the Birlas and asked them, so what would you like Srila Prabhupada to speak? So Mrs. Birla said, okay, do you have a list of topics? Okay, the servant read out a few topics, and one of them was how to be successful. And so she chose that topic. So the servant went back to Srila Prabhupada and said, yes, this is the topic they want you to speak this evening. Prabhupada had a big laugh and he said, just see, they are so successful, they're the richest family in India, and yet they want to hear how to be more successful. So that's the illusion of this material world. They're never satisfied. And so therefore, when Srila Prabhupada actually went to give the lecture, then Srila Prabhupada, he began to speak. And then he said, how in this material world, here we're talking about the three modes, and he says, the personification of the material energy is Durga. And she's riding on a lion with 10 hands, and she has a trident, and the trident, Trishul, indicates the threefold miseries of material existence. And everyone is being stabbed by the Trishul. Nobody escapes. But on the other hand, there is the spiritual energy represented by Srimati Radharani. The real success of life is to transfer oneself from the jurisdiction of Durga Devi to Srimati Radharani. That is real success. Okay, so that's how Srila Prabhupada spoke about real success. Whether they were happy or not, we don't know. Okay, so we did speak about this material sex life and all that yesterday. And then the last part of the verse, Satyam Param Dhimahi. I meditate upon him. Of course, Dhimahi is in the plural, meditate. So it is explained that Vyasadeva, some devotees explain it like this. Vyasadeva, he is offering Vyasa Puja to his spiritual master. And so therefore, he is past, present, future. He's involving everyone in offering respects to the supreme truth. Satyam Param Dhimahi. Speaking on this, and so therefore, this, as we know, the Dhimahi indicates the Gayatri mantra, and Prabhupada writes, one must therefore acquire Brahmanical qualities, or be perfectly situated in the quality of goodness in order to chant the Gayatri mantra successfully, and then attain the stage of transcendental realizing the Lord, his name, his fame. So therefore, it indicates that how one must come to the mode of goodness in order, at least to the mode of goodness, in order to realize the absolute truth. Of course, speaking on the word Vasudeva, Srila Prabhupada often quoted, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. So Vasudeva state is the state where the supreme absolute truth Vasudeva is realized. And so therefore, to come to that Vasudeva state, then the mode of goodness is the most conducive platform to come to the Vishuddha Sattva. And so therefore, the Gayatri mantra indicates coming at least to the platform of goodness. Also, the reason why Vyasadeva is invoking the Gayatri mantra is because, as we know, the Gayatri mantra requires qualification. And so therefore, Vyasadeva is giving a chance to people in common to get the benefits of the Gayatri Mantra simply by chanting this verse of the Bhagavatam. Okay, regarding this, Satyam Param is also being indicated in the 12th chapter. Somebody could just read the translation, please. Quick.
I meditated upon that pure and spotless Supreme Absolute Truth, who is free from suffering and death, and who in the beginning personally revealed the incomparable torchlight of knowledge to Brahma. Brahma then spoke it to the sage Narad, who narrated it to Krishna, Dwapaya and Vyas. Srila Vyas revealed this Bhagavatam to the greatest of sages, Sukdev Goswami, and Sukdev mercifully spoke it to Maharaj Parikshit. Okay, so basically it's describing the Satyam Param and the qualities of that Satyam Param, Vimalam, all that. And okay, so here the verses from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where he says that beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, explanation of the Brahma Gayatri Mantra, Satyam Param indicates the relationship, and we meditate, Dhimahi, on him, indicates the execution of devotional service and the ultimate goal of life. And this is the famous verse talking about Satyam in the praise of the demigods to the supreme truth. So let's just recite this verse. Satyavratam Satyaparam Trisatyam Satyasya Yonim Nihitam Cha Satye Satyasya Satyam Rita Satya Netram Satyatmakam Tvam Sharanam Prapannaha. Translation.
The demigods prayed, O Lord, never deviate from your vow, which is always perfect, because whatever you decide is perfectly correct and cannot be stopped by anyone. Being present in the three phases of cosmic manifestation, creation, maintenance and annihilation, you are the supreme truth. Indeed, unless one is completely truthful, one cannot achieve your favor, which therefore cannot be achieved by hypocrites. You are the active principle, the real truth, in all the ingredients of creation, and therefore you are known as Antaryami, the inner force. You are equal to everyone and known as Antaryami, the inner force. You are equal to everyone and your instruction applies for everyone, for all time. You are the beginning of all truth. Therefore, offering our obeisances, we surrender unto you. Kindly give us protection.
Prabhupada ends the purport to the first verse by saying the Srimad Bhagavatam will gradually elevate the unbiased reader to the highest perfectional stage of transcendence. It will enable him to transcend the three modes of material activities, fruitive actions, speculative philosophy, and worship of functional deities as inculcated in Vedic verses. Hare Krishna. We'll take a 5 minutes break and continue. Hare Krishna. Can we begin? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's go to the next verse. Okay, yes, Deshant Prabhu. Yes, you had a question.
Guruji, if you give brief introduction, this how Bhagavad comes and who told whom, and then this Vedanta Sutra. Means we are always discussing Vedanta Sutra, but so many devotees they have idea, but I don't have any idea of Vedanta Sutra. What is the Vedanta Sutra? How many is there? And when this only one sutra is there, or whole Bhagavatam is commentary, or some canto is different sutra is different canto, like this.
Okay, so maybe in some other class we can discuss, but basically we understand that this is the Srimad Bhagavatam is a natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Veda Anta. Anta means what? The end or the conclusion. Because nobody has time, people may not have time to read all the Vedas, so therefore Vyasadeva gave the conclusions of all the Vedas in sutra form. Short sutras by which the essence of all Vedic knowledge can be understood. And so therefore, and then Srila Vyasadeva gave us the Vedanta Sutras, and in order for one to properly understand the Vedanta Sutras, then he has given the Srimad Bhagavatam as a natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. That much we can say now. Later on we can get into more details. Okay, let's go to the second verse. Dharma projita ketavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayonmulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni krite kim va parer ishvara Satyo avarudyate etra kritibis shushrubis tatshanat. Translation, please. Jaldi padho. आपके सामने है mic.
Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
Okay. Dharma projita kaitava atra. Dharma. Srila Prabhupada commented on this word many times, and Srila Prabhupada, he gives the common dictionary meaning of the word dharma as religion or a kind of faith. But then Srila Prabhupada would often say, faith can always change. This lifetime one could be Hindu, next life Muslim or Christian or whatever. Faith could change. But when you speak of dharma, it refers to something which is unchangeable. It is not something which I can accept or can reject. It's not something like that. What's the analogy Prabhupada gave? Okay, these are simple examples, sugar and chili and so on, to establish that how dharma means the essential characteristic of a substance which cannot be changed. But he also spoke about how dharma means something which one has to follow without any choice. For that, what's the analogy? Say that?
One cannot disobey laws of government.
Yes, exactly. This is the analogy Prabhupada gave. So just like the laws of government, one cannot disobey. One cannot say, I don't accept the law, so I won't follow. Whether you accept or not, whether you have faith in them or not, you have to follow. If you don't follow, you'll be punished. So that is the meaning of dharma. So there's no choice. There's no choice. So it is something which one has to follow. And so therefore dharma basically means the laws of God, whether one is Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whatever. Laws of God have to be followed. That is dharma. And so anything which is not according to the laws of God, that is cheating religion. And so therefore the Bhagavatam kicks out projita, so completely kicks out all types of cheating religion. Prakrishta Rupena Ujjita, Prabhupada says, so completely rejects all types of cheating religion. Okay, a question here. What is the distinction between real and pretentious religion? Can we have a few points? Differences between real and pretentious religion. Somebody like to write here? Any volunteers? Somebody who can write neat and fast. Yes, any volunteers to write? Two columns. Real and pretentious. Okay. Yes, Badarashpur, you had a point? Okay, God made, man made. What else? Okay, permanent, temporary. And real religion? Okay, it's unmotivated, that is motivated, fruitive mentality and other things. Okay. Okay, so this basically speaks about pure devotional service, and that could speak about mundane religion, right? That's mundane religion. Prabhupada sometimes would call it religiosity. What else? Some other differences? Some other differences? Yes? Yes, very true. And the cheating ones? They don't. Yes, Prabhupada made this point. So yes, whether you call it Hinduism or Christianity or Muslim or whatever, but some religion can be considered as real if the goal or the result of the practice is love of God. Then yes, we accept it as real religion. But if it's not, then yes, then it's yes. All right. Yes, accepted. Yes, Prabhupada did say that. Yes, okay, so it's rare. It's rare. It's rare, pretentious religion, yes, lot of customers. Huh? Okay, so in authentic scriptures, can we say? No. Okay, Bhagavatam, that's right. So there are many other authentic scriptures, but could also talk about other types of... Okay, yes. Okay, Guru Parampara. Okay, there you can write other scriptures or whatever you can say. What else? Okay, yes. Will completely satisfy the self. Okay, parampara, no parampara. And will satisfy, not satisfy. Two more points, few more points. Okay, good point. Yes, okay. Eternally present within the heart. Eternally present within the heart. Anything else? What would be the consequences? Okay, so here the sincere followers, and those would be those who want to be cheated, the cheaters and the cheated, this Prophet said. Yes? Okay, fine. So yes, they will achieve the highest goal. They'll achieve the highest goal, which is prema, of course. Liberation is a subsequent consequence of that. Pretentious religion simply leads to continuation of the cycle of birth and death. Okay, last point. Save one from the greatest danger of animal life. Okay, saves one from animal life, lower species. Okay, there's no such assurance there. Okay, and the last
I had a question.
Okay.
Regarding this, like we have made a point that real religion will come in parampara or from authorized source, but then even if there are so many scriptures coming from directly God only, the Vedas, but they talk about other things, not the other things also. So we cannot say that even everything like Buddhism or other, they also have coming from God himself in one way.
Yes, that may be true, but then at the same time, when we speak of bona fide parampara, which is responsible for giving devotion to the Supreme Lords, then that is only the Vaishnava paramparas, isn't it? And that's real religion. Yes, Krishna did give the other aspects also, and why he gave, we'll talk about it in the next verse. But then, when we speak of bona fide true religion, which is leading to prema ultimately, then that's only the bona fide sampradayas.
But even if
okay, thank you.
But other sampradayas also, Vaishnava sampradayas, they don't have Bhagavatam as their main book. They may have other books.
But yet, the prayojan is the same, isn't it? The prayojan is the same, whatever it may be. So therefore, the basic philosophy remains the same.
But even if their goal is to go back to Godhead, so then the ultimate thing, like to go into Goloka, so that may not be their goal.
That we understand that difference is there. That slight difference is there. Of course, you could say it's a major difference also. But ultimately, the prayojan is the same, to get liberated from this material world and achieve the spiritual world, isn't it? That prayojan remains the same. Though, of course, within Gaudiya Vaishnavism, we have the added advantage of Vraja praying. That's an added advantage. Okay. Okay, a quote from Srila Prabhupada.
Dharma means real characteristics. The characteristic cannot be changed, just like water is liquid. The characteristics is that every one of us is serving somebody superior. Therefore it is said, Dharma projita kaitava atra. Kaitava means cheating, which is not dharma, which is not the characteristic. The characteristic is that I am eternally servant of God. Instead of giving service to God, I am now engaged in service of the dog. So on the standard of this is so-called service, the Bhagavad Dharma is not discussed.
Right, so much other service. Okay. Okay, so this is from the purport itself, where Prabhupada is speaking of religiosity in the shape of fruitive work, directly method of gross sense gratification, whereas process of culturing spiritual knowledge with the view to becoming one with the Absolute is a method of subtle sense gratification. Prabhupada is talking of gross sense gratification, subtle sense gratification. So the material world is gross sense gratification, subtle sense gratification is trying to merge into the absolute truth. So all such pretentious religiosity based on gross or subtle sense gratification are completely rejected in the process of Bhagavad Dharma. Often when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation, tries to become one with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification. Okay, another quote.
Others also, these so-called religious systems, they also think like that. The Christians, they go to the church, oh God, give us our daily bread. So this bread supplying business is like that. God simply supplies bread and we eat and we enjoy. Similarly, the Hindu system also there is, oh God, give me some money, I am very poor, I am suffering from disease, people cure it, please cure it. And so everywhere you will find some motive in religion.
Okay, so when there is some motive behind religious practices, then that's not pure religion, which will not achieve the real goal. And so therefore, the important lesson for us is that within our practices of religion also, it is very important to come to that platform of anya bilashita shunyam, not having any motives in our practices of devotional service, which is of course very deep rooted, and to give it up is definitely difficult, but then that should be our goal, and that should be our desire and endeavor, to come to that platform where we give up all types of material desires in our practices of devotional service. Okay. Okay, somebody read this quickly.
Any religion which does not know, which does not teach about God, which does not know what is God, that is cheating religion. That's all. Dharma projita kaitavatra. Cheating religion. And the Vrindavan Das Thakur has said, Prithvi te yaha kichu dharma name chale, bhagavat prahe taha paripurna chale. In the all over the world, what is going on? It is a strong criticism in the name of religion. The Bhagavata say, they are all cheating, that's all, because they have no idea what is God. Neither in their principles there is service of God, there is dedication to God, simply official in the so-called religion. Therefore, Vrindavan Das Thakur said, these are all cheating religions. Religion means when one accepts some religion, he must know what is God, what I am, what is my relationship with God, what are the laws of God, how I am to act. So many things you have to learn. That is religion. Simply stamping myself with some rubber stamp that I belong to this religion, I belong to that religion, that will not help. That is cheating. You are cheating yourself.
Okay, so simply claiming to be this religion, that religion, but one doesn't know what is God, what's relationship with God, then that's all cheating religion. Okay, so in Srimad Bhagavatam, this distinction between real religion and pretentious religion is clearly made. So the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, Narad Muni describes 5 branches of irreligion. That is vidharma, irreligion, religious principles for which one is unfit, paradharma, pretentious religion, abhas dharma, analogical religion, upadharma, cheating religion, chaladharma. So all these are different aspects of pretentious religion. One who is aware of real religious life must abandon these 5 as irreligious. Okay, and then he defines some of these in the next verses. So religious principles that obstruct one from following his own religion are called as vidharma. So principles which cause obstruction. Religious principles introduced by others are called paradharma. This is not parodharma, this is paradharma, introduced by non-bona fide people, upper sampradayas. A new type of religion created by one who is falsely proud and opposes the principles of Vedas is called upadharma. And interpretation by one's jugglery of words is called chaladharma. And next verse he says, pretentious religious system manufactured by one who willfully neglects the prescribed duties of his order of life is called abhas, a dim reflection or false similarity. In this way he speaks about these 5 types of pretentious religion. Okay, before we come to this, okay, we will discuss this a bit later. Okay, let's come to this point of nirmatsaranam. So here Vyasadeva is explaining who can actually come to the point of understanding and practicing real dharma. For that, the qualification is nirmatsaranam, non-envious. So, okay, so I'm going to give you a quick exercise here. Just make small groups of 2-3 devotees. Just turn around, make small groups of 2-3 devotees. Maybe 3-4 devotees. 3-4 devotees. Okay, and I'm going to quickly give you some questions. Please note down. Okay, so for the topic of envy, causes, and we are referring to more in terms of the devotee community, and maybe if you want to be more specific, we can talk about the brahmacharya ashram. Okay, causes, symptoms, consequences, Shastric examples, remedies. 5 things. Causes, symptoms, consequences, Shastric examples, remedies. Okay? We're giving you some 5 minutes, so quickly you can come up with the answers to these 5 questions. All based on envy. Yes. Hare Krishna, do you require more time? Do you require more time? Okay, 1 minute more. Okay, can we begin? Okay, can we have another scribe here, please? Anybody's ready to write here? Examples in the scriptures, so many examples in the scriptures. Why? Because that's the root cause of material existence. Ichcha dvesha samuttena dvanda mohena bharata. The cause of material existence is envy. Prabhupada in his lectures he says. So when we see that Krishna is enjoying, then the conditioned soul thinks, oh, why only Krishna is enjoying? Why not me? Immediately sent to the material worlds. Thank you, bro. So, therefore, as soon as there is envy towards anyone else, actually we are exhibiting envy towards the Supreme Lord, and the consequences are disastrous, as the examples in the scriptures show. And so therefore, the wise thing to do is to give it up, because there is no benefit. It is simply unartha. There is no artha there. So therefore, the only thing is to give it up. And understand how Krishna is in control. And so therefore, but yet we do find there is, as Prabhupada writes in this purport, that how in this world there is so much of competition because of this envy. What is that? Prabhupada writes here, in the material world, there is keen competition between animal and animal, man and man, community and community, nation and nation. But the devotees of the Lord rise above such competition. They do not compete with the materialist because they are on the path back to Godhead, where life is eternal and blissful. Such transcendentalists are non-envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. At the same time, we also hear about competition in the spiritual realm. So how do we differentiate between material competition and spiritual competition? Prabhupada also did encourage spiritual competition. It also exists in the spiritual world. So how do we differentiate? Yes, bro? Yes, and spiritual competition? Okay, yes, that's true. Yes, and in material? Yes, that's the main important difference. Material competition, pleasing oneself. Spiritual competition is ultimately to please Krishna. What else? Yes, yes. Yes, to pull down the other person. That's material competition. But spiritual competition is to encourage others. Some other point? Yes, it purifies. And material competition? Putrefies. Yes. So, a few important quotes on that. Okay, please read. We'll just end with this one or two quotes on...
Matsara means to become intolerant when his neighbor is prosperous. In our Krishna conscious movement, if we become envious, oh my God brother, oh, he has become so popular, he is making so much progress, so put some impediment towards his progressive path. This is also material.
That's material envy.
So this Bhagavad Dharma is not so much it's not for such envious persons. Therefore it is stated here, Parama Nirmatsaranam Satan. Not for the envious person. The envious person, that means materialists. They will not be able to understand what is spoken in the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes.
The Vaikuntha consciousness is that if your neighbor, if your brother is prosperous or progressive, then one should think, oh, he is so nice that he has served God so nicely. God is so pleased upon him that he is making so nice progress. That is Vaikuntha consciousness.
Okay, so that's Vaikuntha consciousness. We see somebody else progressing, one feels happy, one appreciates that progress rather than thinking, oh, why he's making so much progress, why not me? Okay, this is a very important quote from the 7th Canto, Prahlad Maharaj's Press, 7th Canto, 5th chapter, verse number 12, purport. Read.
Everyone should be friendly for the service of the Lord. Everyone should praise another service to the Lord and not be proud of his own service. This is the way of Vaishnava thinking, Vaikuntha thinking. There may be rivalries and apparent competitions between servants in performing service. But in the Vaikuntha planets, the service of another servant is appreciated, not condemned. This is Vaikuntha competition. There is no question of enmity between servants. Everyone should be allowed to render service to the Lord to best of his ability. And everyone should appreciate the service of others. Such are the activities of Vaikuntha. Since everyone is servant, everyone is on the same platform and is allowed to serve the Lord according to his ability.
Okay, so these are very important points Prabhupada is making over here. We could elaborate on them quite elaborately. But the important point is, one important point is, yes, everyone is a servant. There's envy because one thinks somebody is better, I am less, and therefore there is envy. But on the spiritual platform, everyone is a servant and everyone is rendering service according to his God-given ability. That's all. And so therefore, what is the need of envy? Usually there's envy here in the material world because there are limited resources and there are more applicants. Right? You see in jobs, there's one post and there are 1 lakh applicants. Then there is competition. But in the spiritual world, it's not like that. There is unlimited service and there's unlimited opulence if one surrenders to Krishna. So what is the need for envy? There is absolutely no need. And everyone is a servant. Everyone is serving according to his capacity. One can be just peaceful, serve according to one's capacity, appreciate others' service, and that's Vaikuntha consciousness, where everyone can live in peace. And that is what happens in Vrindavan. And this is a very amazing purport which Prabhupada gives towards the final days of his manifest Leela in Vrindavan, as he is giving the purports to the 13th chapter. This is towards the end of the 13th chapter, the 10th chapter, 10th canto, 13th chapter, verse number 60. It's a very beautiful purport. Okay, please read.
We are afraid of the forest and do not wish to go there. But in Vrindavan, the forest animals are as good as demigods, for they have no envy. Even in this material world, in the forest, the animals live together, and when they go to drink water, they do not attack anyone. Envy develops because of sense gratification. But in Vrindavan, there is no sense gratification, for the only aim is Krishna's satisfaction. Even in this material world, the animals in Vrindavan are not envious of the sadhus who live there. The sadhus keep cows and supply milk to the tigers, saying, "Come here and take a little milk." Thus, envy and malais are unknown in Vrindavan. That is the difference between Vrindavan and the ordinary world.
Continue, please.
In Vrindavan, everyone is happy. The calf is happy, the cat is happy, the dog is happy, the man is happy. Everyone. Everyone wants to serve Krishna in a different capacity, and thus there is no envy. One may sometimes think that the monkeys in Vrindavan are envious because they cause mischief and steal food. But in Vrindavan we find that the monkeys are allowed to take butter which Krishna himself distributes. Krishna personally demonstrates that everyone has the right to live. This is Vrindavan life. Why should I live and you die? No, that is material life. The inhabitants of Vrindavan think, whatever is given by Krishna, let us divide it as prasad and eat. This mentality cannot appear all of a sudden, but it will gradually develop with Krishna consciousness. By sadhana, one can come to this platform.
Okay, so that's Vrindavan life. No envy. One simply accepts what Krishna has given and uses that for the benefit of others. Not that I simply want to enjoy, let others die. Who cares? Prabhupada says that's the symptom of Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, if one sees a man being stabbed to death, nobody cares. That's the degree and the extent of selfishness we find in Kali Yuga. But that's not Vrindavan consciousness. Vrindavan consciousness means let everyone be benefited. Let us share what Krishna has given. And let us serve according to one's own ability without envy. Then one becomes qualified to actually understand the Bhagavatam, to understand Krishna, to understand the scripture. And that's also the qualification which Krishna told Arjuna, that he's giving the knowledge to Arjuna because of his qualification. What is that? Anasuyave, non-envious. Because only on the non-envious platform can one actually understand Krishna. Okay, fine. So we will stop at this point, and we are definitely running a little behind schedule. Since we missed the Monday class, we're just asking if it is possible to have a class tomorrow. If it's not possible, it's fine. It's well and good. We will cover up for it in the next week. But I'm just asking if it is possible. Okay, fine. So it's not possible for some devotees. Fine, no problem. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we will decide how it goes next week then, and then depending upon. Okay. Okay, Friday's Ekadash. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, Kanekrishna or something to say. Okay. Okay. In the next four classes next week, we can increase half an hour every day. Okay, Prasadam is NVCC. Okay, so you're saying, so next week we will today anyways, maybe they're already in the mindset of, when something is pre-announced, the mind already makes up plans. So therefore, so okay, so from Monday we will, for the next 4 days, we will have class till 1:30 instead of 1 o'clock, just to compensate. Is that okay?
Monday's Brahmachari festival is there, 11 to 1. So our class timing will be 3 to 5:30. 5. 3 to 2:30.
I think so. See, usually that program goes till what time? What do you say, Kanakrishna? What time? Okay, so but what should be the timing? 3 to 5. Is that okay for everyone? Monday, 3 to 5. Okay. Okay, so on Monday the class timing is 3 to 5. All right? Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.